Welcome to the Inspirational Living Podcast. Let us help you achieve a deep, inspirational sleep with our new sleep meditations, each of which includes 50 transformational affirmations over a background of either ocean waves or gentle rain. Learn more by visiting livinghour.org/sleep. Today's reading was edited and adapted from Self-Investment by Orison Swett Marden, published in 1911. We can make our minds art galleries of beauty or chambers of horror. We can furnish them with anything we please. We think in mental images. They always precede the physical realities. Our mental pictures are copied into life, etched upon our character. Our whole physical economy is constantly translating these images, these mental pictures, into our lives. 1,000 times better to allow thieves into your home and steal your most valuable treasures, to rob you of money or property, than to allow the enemies of your success and happiness, discordant thoughts, disease thoughts, morbid thoughts, jealous thoughts, to enter your mind and steal your comfort, rob you of that peace and serenity without which life is a living tomb. Whatever you do or do not do for a living, resolve that no morbid, discordant, sick thoughts shall get access to your mind. Everything depends upon keeping your mental faculties clear and clean. Keep the holy shrine of your mind, God's temple, pure and free from all your thought enemies. A discordant thought, a morbid mood, when once harbored, breeds more discordant thoughts and more gloom. The moment you harbor the one or the other, it will begin to multiply 1,000-fold and grow more formidable. Do not have anything to do with discord or the offspring of morbid moods. They spoil everything they touch. They leave their wretched impression on everything. They rob one of hope, happiness, and efficiency. Tear down all the dark pictures from your mind, all the black images. Dispel them. They only mean mischief, failure, paralysis of ambition, and death of hope. We must stand on guard at the door of our thoughts. Keep out all the enemies of our happiness and achievement. We have no real enemies except those which live in our own mind, which are generated by our own passion, prejudice, and selfishness. We are so constituted that we must do right. We must go straight. We must be true and unselfish, magnanimous and charitable and loving, or we cannot be really healthy, successful, or happy. Perfect harmony of mind and body means a clean mentality. What a tremendous amount of wear and tear, wrenching, aging friction we could prevent if we had only been taught as children always to shut the doors of our minds to all tearing down, destructive enemy thoughts, and to hold in the mind ideas that uplift and encourage, that cheer, gladden, and refreshen, that encourage and give hope. It is pitiful to see the wreckage of hopes, happiness, and ambition in a person's life after hurricanes of passion have swept through their mental kingdom. If the child were properly trained in the art of thinking, what an easy thing it would be for the grown person to avoid all this, to bring beauty, poise, and serenity to the mind, instead of the desolation wrought by enemy thoughts, the thieves of joy, the burglars of happiness and contentment. Why do we learn so quickly on the physical plane that hot things burn us, that sharp tools cut us, that bruises make us suffer, and endeavor to avoid the things which give pain, while in the mental realm we are constantly burning ourselves, cutting ourselves, poisoning our brain and body with deadly destructive thoughts? How we suffer from these thought lacerations, these mental bruises, these burnings of passion, and yet we do not learn to avoid the causes of all this suffering. It was not intended that humanity should suffer, but that we should rejoice and forever be happy, buoyant, and glad. To get rid of our thought enemies requires constant, systematic, persistent effort. We cannot accomplish anything worthwhile without energy and determination. How can we expect to keep, therefore, the enemies of our peace and prosperity out of the mind without energetically resisting them, driving them out of consciousness, locking the door of the mind against them? We do not seem to have any trouble in keeping personal enemies out of the home, people we dislike very much, people who injure us and lie about us. Why can't we keep the enemies of our thoughts out of the reception room of the mind? If we walk barefoot in the country, we learn to avoid the sharp stones and briars which would cut our feet. Likewise, it is not difficult to learn to avoid the thoughts which hurt us, which cut us and leave ugly scars. The hate thoughts, jealous, selfish thoughts, which leave us bleeding emotionally and suffering. It is not a deep problem. It is only a question of keeping out of the mind its enemies and entertaining its friends. Some thoughts send hope and joy, gladness and encouragement, bounding through our whole system. Others restrict, repress all hope, joy, and contentment. Think of the possibilities for happiness, prosperity, and a long life, could we all keep in our minds strong, vigorous, resourceful, productive thoughts. It is impossible to entertain a thought of discord while the mind is dwelling upon harmony, of ugliness while beauty is reflected in the mental mirror, or of sorrow while joy and gladness predominate. Sadness and melancholy cannot outpicture themselves upon the body when good cheer, hope, and joy live in the mind. If you persistently keep these enemy thoughts, fear thoughts, anxious thoughts, disease thoughts out of your mind a while, they will leave you forever. But if you entertain them, nourish them, they will keep returning for more nourishment, more encouragement. The way to health and joy is to discourage enemy thoughts by closing the door of your mind against them. Have nothing to do with them. Drop them. Forget them. When things have gone against you, do not say, "That is just my luck. I am always getting into trouble. I knew it would be like that. It always is." Do not pity yourself. It is a dangerous habit. It's not a very difficult art to learn to keep the mind slate clean, to erase unfortunate experiences, sad memories, recollections, memories which humiliate, pain us, to wipe them all out and keep a clean mental slate so far as the past is concerned. You have no idea of the peace, comfort, and happiness that will come to you after vigorously making up your mind and persistently carrying out your resolution never again to have anything to do with the things which have kept you back, have crippled, cramped, strangled your efforts, the things which have pained you and made you suffer bitter pangs. Have nothing more to do with your mistakes, your shortcomings. No matter how bitter they have been, blot them out, forget them, and resolve never again to harbor them. Of course, this cannot be done by a single act of the will, but by persistency and determination and watchfulness. One can gradually clear their mind of most of their enemies. And the best way to get unfortunate, bitter, cruel experiences out of the mind is to fill it with good things, bright, cheerful, and hopeful thoughts. Ideas, thoughts, like everything else, attract what is akin to them. The thoughts which dominate the mind will tend to drive out their opposites. Optimism will drive out pessimism. Cheerfulness will drive out despondency. Hope, discouragement. Fill the mind with the sunshine of love, and all hatred and jealousy will flee. These black shadows cannot live in love's sunshine. Persistently keep your mind filled to overflowing with good thoughts, generous, magnanimous, charitable thoughts, love thoughts, truth thoughts, health thoughts, harmony thoughts, and all the discordant thoughts will have to go. Two opposite thoughts cannot exist in the mind at the same time. True thoughts are the antidote for error, harmony for discord, and good for evil. Most of us fail to appreciate the difference between the influence of opposing thoughts or suggestions. We all know how a cheerful, optimistic, encouraging idea gives a thrill of well-being, how it rejuvenates, recreates. We feel its tingle to the tips of our fingers. It permeates and quickens as an electric shock of joy and gladness. It brings with it fresh courage, hope, and a new lease of life. If you keep your thoughts on the right track, you can substitute hope for despair, courage for timidity, decision and firmness for hesitancy, doubt, or uncertainty. If you can keep out the enemies of success by filling your mind with friend thoughts, optimistic, courageous, hopeful thoughts, you will have a tremendous advantage over the person who is the victim of his or her moods, who is the slave of the blues, discouragement, and doubt. You can accomplish more with 5 talents than the person with 10 who cannot master their moods. We cannot affirm too often or too vigorously the idea that we were made in the image of perfection, love, beauty, and truth, made to express these qualities and not their opposites. Say to yourself, every time an idea of hatred, malice, revenge, discouragement, or selfishness comes into my mind, I have done myself an injury. I have struck myself a blow that is fatal to my peace of mind, my happiness, my efficiency. All these enemy thoughts cripple my advance in life. I must destroy them immediately by neutralizing them with their opposites. It does not matter whether it is fear, anxiety, worry, jealousy, envy, selfishness. Whatever can in any way mar the symmetry and beauty of life should be expelled as a fatal enemy. Any sort of discord or unhappiness is evidence that there is something wrong inside of us, something that needs fixing. The time will come when we shall realize that every fit of anger, every touch of hatred and revenge, every vibration of selfishness and fear, anxiety and worry, even the temporary passing through the mind of a jarring or discordant thought, will leave its indelible mark in our life and will mar our career. The time will come when discord will be lost, neutralized in harmony. Love, charity, benevolence, kindliness, goodwill towards others, all arouse the noblest feelings, sentiments within us. They are life-giving, uplifting. They make for health, harmony, and power. They put us in tune with the infinite. The Inspirational Living podcast is a production of The Living Hour and brought to you by the generous financial support of our patrons. Become our patron for as little as $3 a month to gain access to free transcripts and the series Our Sunday Talks, which features thought-provoking readings on spirituality and spiritual growth. Thanks for listening. I look forward to talking with you next time.